you are leaders wherever God has put you. You have to have the courage to say, you know what, this ain't working. You know what, I got an issue with this about you. Not to be nasty, not to be mean, not rolling your neck, not smacking your mouth and carrying on doing all this stuff. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to do all of that. But just directly say, this is the issue, right? It takes courage. I'm not always good at it. I'm getting better about it. But I'm finding that the better I am about addressing people directly, the better things are going. And you have to ask yourself, how direct are you with people? How direct are we with people? Or do we send these cold messages and our nonverbal expression? How you doing? Is something wrong? No, everything's fine. You lying, nigga. I'm sorry, kush shot. I'm sorry. Kush shot. Okay, you lying, kush shot. Right? So we have to be mindful of these things. And this was happening at the church as it's spreading. And now you got Jews and Gentiles together. They fighting and fussing over all this stuff. But what I like is that they directly addressed the issues timely. And once it was addressed, they did not bring it up again. How many of you have had a conflict with people and they bring it up again? It's nothing like fighting with somebody. You remember when you did this? Wait a minute, I thought we already talked about that. What they got to do with this? You bring it back like last week and yesterday to today's arguments. No. And when you're dealing with people that's like that, it makes it hard to even want to engage them in a conflict. Because can we deal with what's in front of us right now? And that's what I liked about the leaders in the early church. They addressed those issues right now. I want to challenge you. Don't let things fester. Because the longer you hold on to conflicts, the devil gets involved. He starts playing with our mind and making us see stuff that we didn't see and hear stuff that we didn't hear. And then we start talking to other people. Yeah, girl, let me tell you what I did. He did that to me too. And then before you know it, you don't have a whole fight with a person that you may never even have a fight with. You have to address those things directly, okay? So now what's happening is there's a particular divisive issue that has arisen in the church at Antioch, which was one of the first largest churches outside of Jerusalem, okay? Most of the Gentile church. So you have all these Gentiles getting saved. But then you have the Judaizers. How many of you heard that word before? Judaizers. Let me tell you about the Judaizers. There were some interesting people. The Judaizers said, okay, we didn't want Gentiles in the faith in the first place, but since you're here, you need to come the same way that the Jews came. Right. You need to follow the laws of Moses. Right. The men need to be circumcised. Yeah. You need to change how you eat. You need to become a Jew to become a Christian. And Paul said, hold on now. You're talking law. We under grace. You don't have to be circumcised to come into the gospel. All you need to come to the gospel is what? To believe in your heart and to confess with your mouth first. Confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that He's alive. Romans 10, 9 and 10. He says, those are the prescriptions for salvation. All of these legalistic things that we had to follow and half of us couldn't even follow. Why are we going to put that burden on these new Gentile believers? And so there's this big fight. It caused a big issue at Antioch. And what happens is they said, listen, before we let this tear up the church, let us go to the council. I want you to know, there has to be a governing body in your church or in your organization that when the conflict is too big for the congregation to deal with, you take it to them. And they are the authority for what should be done, and whatever they determine, that's what the saints are going to line up with. But the problem with most churches is can't nobody tell pastors nothing. Can't nobody tell who are you accountable to, ma'am, sir? I know when you say that, ma'am, sir. Who are you accountable to? And you got all these churches and all these pastors. Can't nobody tell them to sit down, and God forbid they teaching wrong doctrine. Who's going to correct these people teaching wrong doctrine? Doing crazy stuff in the church with people, to people, for people, on people. Come on here. There has to be some type of accountability. When we set up the rock, They told us in our training. You were there, they told us in our training. You have to have a board of elders. Getting ready to announce our board of elders. People who you have seen and you know their life and you know what they represent. Ordained people who when we have conflicts in this church, that's who we go to. We have overseers. Pastors of larger ministries who have similar worship styles to us, who believe in this ministry, that I can call right now. Every one of our overseers, I can pick up the phone and call, and they all pastor at least 2,000 to 3,000 folks, some of them more.
Amen. Amen.
But because they believe in the Rock ATL, and they believe that God wants to use, one of our overseers says, God is looking for a church to bless and love. And don't call yourself the Rock and don't be stable. My job is to ensure that you as the leader will be stable. And if you're stable, and if you walk in holiness, and if you have integrity, I'll bless that ministry. So they went to the council in Jerusalem, and they said, we need to get some answers on this issue before we let the church get tore up. Don't let your church get tore up over conflicts. If you know there's something going on in the church, and I have not addressed it, then more than likely I don't know about it.
Right.
Because I'm in a different functioning, if you haven't noticed. I'm addressing stuff very directly. So if I hadn't said nothing, that means I probably don't know.
That's right.
Don't let stuff fester in the church that could potentially destroy the church. Bring it to the leadership. You're not being a snitch. Snitches don't get snitches. Okay? So we ain't gonna bust you up because you came and told us. But we need to address conflicts that can destroy church. Let me move on. I'm out of time. All right. So there are, is everybody tracking with me? I know I'm moving kind of fast. Okay. There are at least 4 benefits that we see from this text about how we can properly handle conflicts. And when we handle conflicts, what happens? Okay. Let's jump into the first one. But here are the 4 benefits. The first one is that it sparks necessary conversations. The second thing is that it creates clear boundaries. The third thing is that it repositions you for new opportunities. And the fourth one is that it redefines current relationships. All right, so let's jump in. The first one, sparks new conversations. Let's look at Acts 15, 6-7. Now the apostles and the elders came together to consider this matter. And the matter was the whole issue of should they be circumcised. Okay? So they came together to consider this matter. Verse 7, and when there had been much dispute, Peter rose up and said to the men and brethren, you know that a good while ago God chose among us that by my mouth the Gentiles should hear the word of the gospel and believe. I want you to note there that when there is a conflict that affects a large amount of people, you have to let the key leaders work it out. Let the people, the masses, stay out of it. Okay? And while you are having your disputes, when the key leader stands up, everybody else shuts their mouth and gives respect to the key leader. Notice, they were disputing. But when Peter stood up, everybody closed their mouth and listened to what the man had to say. Why did they give Peter that level of respect? Because Peter was the one who got the key.
Yes. Amen.
Peter was the one who got the authority to open the doors of the church in the first place.
Yes.
So he is the set leader. And even though Paul had established way more churches than Peter would ever establish, he never disregarded the fact that Peter had the juice. But why is it that we can't give respect to the set person that God has in place? We want to fuss and fight with the set person. I'm a man just like he a man. Yes, we both men, but you don't have the authority that I've been given. It don't make me better than you. It means I have more responsibility than you have. Now I'll take my shoes off right now, and you can put my shoes on if you want to. Walk in my shoes for a whole day. And if you can walk in my shoes and do it the way that I can do it, have it. If you're not willing to walk in the shoes that I have to walk in to have this authority, shut your mouth and at least listen to what I have to say. Sorry. It just came on me like that. It's like, I'm supposed to be trying to come for you. But who you think you is and who she is and how you, nigga, you can't handle what I do. You can't do what I do. But you want to sit up here and confront me and challenge me and tie up this process. other people begin to give their input.
Come on.
And then notice too, you see in verses 16, 17, they begin to quote scriptures.
Right.
So the Bible should guide the conversation. It's not just our opinion. This ain't your philosophy. What does the Bible say about this thing? They've been able to connect this conflict and the solution to the scriptures. Jesus Christ today. They were honest and they were direct. They were not afraid. Notice there it says in verse number 7, much disputes.
Not a little bit.
Can we come in a meeting, elders, and have a dispute, a heated conversation, and then leave and say, what are we going to eat? If I can't disagree with you and fuss with you and tell you you're wrong, and I ain't doing that, and we can still go and have fellowship, and we cannot do life and ministry together. I don't need people that's all sensitive. I ain't talking to you because you didn't agree with my idea, and you didn't implement what I said. You embarrassed me in the meeting. You in your feelings, you're not healthy. Anyone that works with me close will tell you. They tell me stuff all the time. I'm like, yeah. And I say, we don't do this, Bishop. We ain't doing that. And this is why we ain't doing that. I'm like, okay, you're right. I don't get in my feelings when people tell me we're not doing that, and I don't agree with that. I say, you know what? I didn't think about that. That's better than what I thought. Okay, what are we going to do now?
Amen.
You have to be emotionally, mentally healthy to lead. And if you're not mentally, emotionally healthy, you need to do what you need to do to get healthy because God wants to use you. Yes, God wants to use you. And He is using some of us despite ourselves, but do we want to keep making a mess while He's using us? That was nasty. But it's the truth. The second thing that happens, once you spark these necessary conversations, right? Without the Judaizers, they would have never had the Jerusalem Council.
Never.
So sometimes God can use conflict to birth something that is very necessary. The conversation would have never happened without the conflict. Out of that, you create clear boundaries, number 2. So you see in verse 19 and 20, it says, therefore I judge that we should not trouble those from among the Gentiles who are turning to God, but that we write to them to abstain from things polluted by idols, from sexual immorality, from things strangled, and from blood. So that's the only thing they're asking for. If you don't do these things, we're good. You don't have to do all the other stuff, but don't do these things. And the reason why they're asking them not to do these things, because these were things that were popular among Greek and paganistic cultures. So they want you to make a sharp distinction from pagan culture. That's why they're asking them to do those things. So, out of this, they have clear set boundaries. Notice, they wrote it out. If you don't write it down, you cannot hold people accountable. Because people lie. They tell me that. He didn't say that. Well, that's not what I thought. I didn't know that's what you meant. People like to get amnesia when they back and press against the wall. And at the end of the day, most folks are going to say they're behind. But when you write it down, this per hour conversation, per hour meeting. They teach us that in the marketplace, don't they? Don't ever have no meeting with your boss and don't say it and just to confirm, to follow up for what we said. This is what we said. Because guess what? Let the funk hit the fan behind something that was said, but was not written down. Let's see who's going to say they're behind. You're going to pray you have somebody that has integrity that will say, yes, we said it, but you can't bet your bottom dollar on that. Tell somebody, write it down. They wrote it down. We write it down so that it's clear and direct about expectations and boundaries. Many of us are afraid to express our expectations and our boundaries. Because we're afraid that if we truly express our expectations and our boundaries, then we will lose the person. That's what's wrong with a lot of intimate relationships. You wouldn't tell him or tell her what you really wanted, so you're like, oh, yeah, I'm cool with that. You know you're not cool with that. well, I guess I can deal with it. You lying. You do not like that. And then you get with them, and then 5 years in, you know, I really never liked that. But you told me you liked it. I'm confused all day long. It creates unnecessary conflict. But and not just in intimate relationships, but in our friendships. We're afraid to tell people, this is what I need. This is what I require. Can you do that? And if you can't, it's okay for us to say we can't be friends. But you just gotta have a friend, and she just gotta be it. Am I talking too tough today? I'm just saying. And then you all disappointed because things ain't going the way you wanted to go.
Help us, Bishop.
Write it down. Be clear. Don't be afraid. Listen, you should value yourself enough to know that if this person, this connection, this place isn't the place, God clearly is not on a shortage of people, places, and connections. Y'all get what I'm saying? So why am I compromising myself for this when God can have so much more? I was thinking yesterday about a friendship I was pursuing years ago with somebody who wasn't even worth my attention. A platonic friendship wasn't worth really my attention. I was like, well, come on, be friends, let's be friends. And I was like, you know what, that's messed up. They you know, did me dirty. And then God sent me a great friend who is still my friend today, who is on my level intellectually, doing well in the career. Listen, God says you were running behind one person who was even worth your time, and I had somebody that would push you, support you, and encourage you. Wait, listen, have you ever seen that picture on Facebook where Jesus, you know, he's white, Jesus ain't white, anyway, kneeling down in front of the girl saying, give it to me. She got this little bear. And she said, but I want it, I love it, not knowing that behind his back he has this humongous bear. And that's what God is trying to do with some of us. You holding on to this little thing right here you think you just gotta have, not knowing, now God ain't gonna show you what he's gonna give you. He won't show you the greater. Because he wants to know, can you trust me just for me? Don't trust me because I got greater. Trust me because you trust me. Oh, I feel God right there. That's it. Come on, give God a little praise. I feel it. I trust you because of you, not because of what you can do. And if you don't give me nothing else, I still trust you. I'm still going to give you glory. I'm still going to praise you. My God Almighty. So he said, go and loose that right there. I ain't going to show you I got great. I just want to see if you trust me. And she said, I can't do it. But I've learned that when you let it go and listen, I went through it recently. Some of y'all walked with me through it. I can't let this go even though it's no good. And it needs to go. I can't let it go. And what happens is when you won't let go, when God wants to give you greater, he'll take it from you. Don't let God have to snatch it from you. He'll snatch it from you. And then you left to have to trust him. Don't be forced to trust him. Trust him by choice. Choice. I'm 2019, I'm trusting him by choice. He ain't gotta make me trust him. He ain't gotta take nothing from me. I'm trusting him by choice because I have a track record with God. I know he's faithful.